Hello again, everybody. It's Sonic Yoda from SEGADriven.com here. Right, let's have a look at something a little bit more obscure, shall we say. So, first things first, I got to introduce you to a bit of hardware that we're going to play these Sega games on. This is the Tiger Gamecom, a 1997 sort of monochrome portable gaming system by Tiger Electronics. Now, this didn't do particularly well. It is often spoken about in certain circles as being one of the worst selling portables of all time. I don't know. Like it's a thing, you know. I've been enjoying mucking around with it. It's got to be said. I think it's a quirky little thing. I like some of the things that it does. If you've never seen one before, it's basically sort of like a little bit like an original Game Boy, but a little bit more powerful. It can do pretty good sampled sound, for instance. The actual sound chip in it is not particularly great for actual music and things like that. I don't think there's too many sort of tracks for it to use in its actual music. So you'll notice that if there is any music in any of the games, because often the case is that there isn't, yeah, it will be pretty weak sounding. But the actual quality of the samples, like voice samples and things like that, is actually pretty decent on this thing. My favourite thing about this is it's got a nice little party trick in that it can take two cartridges at once, and you just basically select which game you want to play from a menu. This screen is also a touch screen. I'm missing the stylus, unfortunately, which sits in here, but basically, yeah, this is a touch screen. So I've got a 3DS one here, which I can show you how this sort of thing works. I'll give you a quick example. Let's get some sound up as well. So yes, this is the main menu. If I click into the cartridge menu, I can select the two cartridges I have in the system. Quite a nice little idea, that. Let's go back to the main menu. But yeah, like I say, you can select. There's a version of Solitaire on here that you can muck around with. It's pretty basic stuff, just, you know, a very simple interface. The idea with this thing in particular is that it's more of a PDA as well as a game system. So you've got a phone book, a calendar, a calculator, yada yada yada. But yeah, let's talk about the Sega games that were released for this thing. So there were 3 titles released for this. 2 of them were officially licensed from Sega. One of them is not, bizarrely. And we're going to start with that one. So let me put this to one side for the time being, and I will show you the first game that we're going to look at. This is Indy 500, which is a port of the, yeah, I can't remember the model. I can't remember the name of the board that powers this, but basically it's the same board that powers Daytona USA. So yeah, in the arcade version at least. So yeah, Indy 500 is kind of, yeah, I'd say it was a little bit more of an obscure Sega game. This is actually the only time it ever got a home console port outside of Tiger Electronics' own sort of dealings. There was a Tiger Electronics LCD version of Indy 500, and another version of that for the previous Tiger Electronics portable called the R-Zone, which is basically just a port of that LCD game. But this is actually a proper, you know, video game port, in that it's not, you know, using. We've spoken about LCD games in previous videos, but yeah, it doesn't have the single screen of animations that it can only do, and it's only locked to that one screen. This has lots going on. It's a proper video game. So yeah, these are the cases. They're little cardboard cases. They're very cheaply produced. You can feel like how sort of flimsy the card is. It's not particularly nice, thick cardstock. We've got some screenshots. We've got a little bit of a thing about the game. There's not much to speak about going on here. So let's have a look inside, and I'll show you what the cartridges and the instruction manuals look like. So here's the little cartridge. Nice little thing. What I like about their cartridges, they've got little labels on the top as well, so you can see what it is when the game is in the actual machine itself, which is a nice little idea. And then underneath here we've got a little manual, which is alright. Certainly nice, something nice to refer back to. We've got some high quality screenshots in here as well. Higher quality than the probably actual screen of the machine, to be honest with you, but you'll see that in a second. But yeah, basically explains the deal with the game. So let's have a look at said game, shall we? The cartridge locking into a massive board of some sort. Right, here we go. As you can see, there's no copyright, any mention of Sega on this at all. I don't know why Sega decided to remove their branding from this, because it is very clearly still their game, which it'll be very obvious from when we actually get into the menu.
Indy 500.
So, start and options. What can we change? The difficulty, the sound effects, and you can change the weather from sunny to rain, which is quite interesting. Let's get into the actual game itself. I'm going to pick the car with mad acceleration and top speed.
Please select a transmission.
So as you can see, this sort of display here is very SEGA-y, very sort of Daytona USA virtual racing kind of look to it, like the original version of Indy 500.
Please select a manual transmission.
To be honest.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
And as you can hear, the sound samples are pretty high
The
quality.
race begins from a rolling start.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine. The race begins from a rolling start.
So first you have to do
Go!
a qualifying lap, essentially. Oh, you have to bear with me. It's difficult to play this through, like, I'm having to look through my camera at the same time. So you do have to brake at the corners to actually make it round without colliding. One of the other things that you can do, which I quite like in this, is that there is a second camera viewing option, so you can go in car. Runs at a nice clip. It's very clear to see everything going on. We're sitting behind the safety car or whatever it is in front of us at the moment, just because it's the qualifying lap. I don't know why there needs to be a safety car, but there you go. Ideally you'd want to go as quick as possible on your qualifying lap to get a good place on the starting grid. Let's go back into the other view. Don't think that view angle really changes much, to be honest with you. And there we go. And I've made it to rank 8 on the grid.
The race begins from a rolling start.
Right, so this is the main race proper now. So you're going to have to forgive me for a lot of my play here, because this is where it gets very difficult now. Having other cars on the track instantly becomes a really hard time with this. Collision is not forgiving, which is a shame, because I feel like there's a pretty decent game in here, to be honest with you. Like, it's quite easy to see what's going on. The signs like that you're supposed to be braking and are very obvious and things. It's a fairly decent playing game. It's just like I say, once you put other cars in the mix, the collision detection does get funny. And you can hear it's making lots of weird noises and things as I collide with other cars at the moment. So yeah, like I say, this isn't going to be the best play at the moment. Oh, there we go, spun out again. Cool, blimey. I thought I was past that. See what I mean by how bad the collision is in this? But yeah, like, this isn't too bad, it's got to be said. It's just a shame that the collision is so wonky, because otherwise this would be a pretty nice thing to play. It also is a game that sort of suits this screen quite well. We haven't spoken about it yet, but the refresh rate on the Gamecom isn't great, so you do get a lot of ghosting, and this can be very difficult to. This can be quite annoying when you're playing like two-dimensional games, for instance, because the sprite elements and things ghost quite heavily, and it's very difficult to see what's happening a lot of the time. But with something like this, where it's behind the vehicle, it's not too bad. So it says that we can pit, but I've never once figured out how to do this. Yeah, that's not happening, is it? There doesn't seem to be an opening for the pit over there, despite the fact that it said pit. Is that a button I can press? No, can't figure that one out at all. But yeah, there you go, that's Indy 500 for the Gamecom. A pretty, what do I want to say? It's quite an admirable attempt at making a port of quite an advanced arcade game for a very underpowered system. It's doing some things I like. I like the mode view change and the fact that there's rain, and I do quite like the handling, despite the fact that the collision detection is off. But yeah, the collision detection does kind of ruin the actual main game, unfortunately, which is a shame because I feel like there's something going for this. A little bit more time in the oven, this could have probably been a pretty decent little game. But alas, this is pretty wonky, unfortunately. But there you go.